In the summer of 2026, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella delivered a public warning. He stated that the political economy simply would not tolerate a future where a few massive AI models eat everything they see. It is an incredible critique, mostly because of who is making it. Nadella oversees a 27% stake in OpenAI. Since 2019, Microsoft has poured nearly $14 billion into the exact concentration of AI is now warning the world about. Microsoft is also the primary architect driving the physical expansion of this industry. In a single quarter, the company spent $37.5 billion entirely on AI infrastructure and data centers, a 66% year-over-year increase. Why would the executive actively steering the industry toward centralized AI suddenly pivot his rhetoric to warn against it? The shift is driven by the reality that the underlying math of Microsoft's business model simply broke. By late 2025, Microsoft's flagship AI product, Copilot, was facing a serious problem. Survey data revealed it was actively losing its share of paid subscribers to Google's Gemini. But losing market share wasn't the biggest threat. The real issue was how people were using the software. This bar chart illustrates the problem. Users were shifting to agentic AI, where the AI doesn't just chat, but actively executes multi-step coding or workflow tasks. Those agentic tasks consume up to 1,000 times more compute tokens than a standard text prompt. Microsoft was charging a fixed $30 a month for enterprise Copilot seats. When you have users running heavy agentic tasks that cost thousands of times more to process, a flat subscription fee mathematically cannot cover the explosive compute costs. To survive, Microsoft was forced to change its pricing structure entirely. They shifted Copilot to usage-based billing, introducing Copilot credits so that heavy enterprise users would actually pay per task rather than writing on a flat rate. Internally, they called this heavy usage token maxing. The sheer expense of token maxing proved that Microsoft could no longer rely exclusively on massive, wildly expensive frontier models from OpenAI or Anthropic if they wanted to keep their software margins intact. They needed a cheaper engine. Instead of trying to win a singular race for the smartest God-tier AI, Microsoft pivoted. They began building a decentralized ecosystem of specialized in-house models. At their Build 2026 conference, they unleashed an arsenal of these alternatives, launching 7 proprietary AI models alongside their open-source Phi family. Microsoft engineered these models for high efficiency and rock-bottom token costs, prioritizing overhead reduction over raw intelligence. To sell this to corporate clients, Microsoft introduced frontier tuning. This flowchart shows how it works. Instead of sending sensitive corporate data out to a giant central public API, enterprises customize one of Microsoft's cheaper models using their internal data, fully contained inside a secure Azure boundary. By tuning a smaller model to a specific workflow, clients match the performance of a massive frontier model at 10 times lower cost. Satya Nadella framed this as owning the learning loop. It is a direct pitch to enterprises, offering them cheap, private alternatives so they don't get locked into a single expensive third-party AI provider. But Microsoft's hunger for cheap compute is so severe that even their own in-house AI models are not quite economical enough to power everyday tasks at scale. In mid-June 2026, news broke that Microsoft was actively exploring a highly controversial alternative, hosting a fine-tuned version of China's DeepSeek V4 directly on its Azure servers. DeepSeek represents the absolute pinnacle of China's aggressively capitalized AI sector. Their engineering is specifically designed to run at hyper-low costs, making it exactly the kind of engine Microsoft needs to make Copilot profitable. Sourcing tech from China comes with immense friction. DeepSeek is already banned on U.S. federal devices across multiple agencies, and bipartisan lawmakers view Chinese-linked AI as a direct national security threat. Microsoft is clearly willing to risk a brutal regulatory showdown in Washington, D.C. over a hosted Chinese model. That risk alone proves that driving down per-token costs has become Microsoft's most critical existential priority. To keep building the massive data centers required for this transition, Microsoft knows it needs to keep regulators and the public on side. Nadella calls this earning social permission. He aggressively rejects the idea that AI exists purely for corporate cost-cutting. Instead, he promotes a framework where companies combine human capital with token capital, arguing that human workers actually become more valuable as token capital grows. His public stance is that executives shouldn't use AI to hollow out industries or eliminate white-collar jobs. Instead, they should use the technology to reorganize those roles, giving workers maximum leverage. This sociological argument is highly strategic. Promoting reorganization provides the exact political cover Microsoft needs to ensure its $190 billion CapEx supercycle continues unimpeded. Underneath the rhetoric, a final strategic reality is taking shape. AI models are converging in capability, and the intelligence itself is rapidly becoming a cheap commodity. Take a look at this technology stack diagram. As the models get cheaper and more interchangeable, the real defensible value in the tech industry migrates down the stack. The money isn't in the model layer anymore, it's in the distribution layer. And Microsoft already owns that distribution through Azure, Microsoft 365, Teams, and GitHub. This explains the opening paradox. Satya Nadella is attacking AI monopolies because a monopoly model dictates terms. He wants AI models to be cheap, decentralized, and entirely interchangeable. By fragmenting the model layer into a multi-model ecosystem, Microsoft neutralizes the threat of a single all-powerful AI. Whoever ends up building the smartest algorithm, Microsoft ensures that the enterprise revenue ultimately flows through their plumbing.